Good evening. I would like to call the Warwick County School Board of School Trustees November 13th meeting to order. Would you please join us in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, recognition of high school essay winner and state finalist student athletes. Dr. Redmond.
Yes, thank you.
It's a fun night.
We're excited to see so many people here at our meeting tonight. We're excited for several recognitions, and first we're going to start with Mrs. Lauren Poole. She is a language arts teacher at Castle High School, and she's going to introduce our first guest.
Hi, good evening. I'm Mrs. Poole, and I want to recognize Sydney Eckert. She was one of my students last year as a sophomore, and I knew that Sydney liked to participate in essay contests. She actually won a local contest through, it was fiction writing, right, last year? Yeah. Through the library. So I knew that about her, and Mr. Fisher actually sent out an essay contest opportunity, and it was sponsored through the Candles Holocaust Museum in Terre Haute, and the event is called the Evening of Light, and it's to honor Candles founder and Holocaust survivor Eva Kor and her life lessons. So for the essay, Sydney had to select one lesson from Eva's life and apply it to her own life and explain that connection. So Eva's lessons are: number 1, never ever give up; 2, prevent prejudice by judging people only on their actions and the content of their character; 3, forgive your worst enemy; it will heal your soul and set you free; 4, each of us has a wonderful mind that can help repair the world. Be the change you want to see. So Sydney was one of 2 high school students through the whole state of Indiana to win this essay contest, and she was recognized on October 12th at the Evening of Light in Indianapolis. And I'm so glad she participated and so proud of her accomplishment. So congratulations, Sydney.
Yes, sir. Please feel free to
I'd like to know what Sydney chose to write on.
It was the concept of forgiveness and connecting
Congratulations.
to Eva's life.
Very good, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mrs. Poole.
No.
Next, I would like to introduce Coach Edwardson from Castle High School Cross Country.
So that's your career.
Yeah, I guess I've been around quite a while. I think this is my 50th year for coaching cross country at Castle. It'll be my 50th year for track too. Last time I've been here, I think Tom Welch was here, so I haven't been here in a long time. But I do have 2 recipients that made it to the state finals this year. We haven't had anybody for 3 or 4 years to make it up there, but these 2 did. And cross country is a sport where you run 7 people and you count 5, okay? It's a team sport, but yet it's an individual sport. Everyone has to run their best, every single meet. And these 2 have accomplished that. And because of that, they have run their way all the way to the state finals. Began with over 1,000 kids participating for the state final meet. Only 250 make it. And they both made it this year, out to have over 1,000 competitors and everything as we started. So that was a great accomplishment. Another thing I'd like to say is that they are both student athletes, and their grade point average is 3.4, both of them. And I'd also like to say that our cross-country team, 35 athletes, their grade point was 3.7 this year. So last year it was 3.6, I believe, but this year it was a little bit higher. If Jeff was on there, it'd probably be down. He was one of my students at one time.
So you blame me on him.
Yeah, it took him 3 times to take the class.
So it's your fault. It's your fault.
Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah. So anyhow, we had a great season. Both of them did quite well in sectionals and SIC and regionals and so forth. But I'm just very proud of what they have accomplished. And I'd also like to thank our athletic director. What he does, if you need something, he usually produces it for you, okay? He takes care of his athletes, takes care of all the athletes, and he runs a good ship. You can ask Mr. Hood that. He's great, and we appreciate all he does for. Okay, do you want the
Please.
participants to come out? Have I talked enough, Watson?
You're good.
Okay. When we go to the Kiwanis dinner, I always like to talk. A little bit too long, a little bit
Yes,
too long.
could you please introduce them?
Yes,
Yeah.
over here. This is Heidi Giannini. She is a sophomore, and she finished in the, I think she was 98 out of 250. So that's pretty
Very
good,
good.
because she's just a sophomore. And this is Dane Kramer, and he also finished 110 or something like that out of 250. So they ran really well. They both took over a minute off their time when we ran earlier in the fall at Laverne up there at Terre Haute. That's where they run the NCAA Division I cross-country meet up there. And so they improved by over a minute and something from their time. That was about 40-degree weather with a northerly breeze of about 15 miles an hour that morning, and it was cold. But they made it through.
Very
So
good.
these are my two athletes, student athletes, great kids. Proud of them.
If I could tell one story. I want to tell a story, you talk, now you talk. So my son ran cross-country at Tecumseh. And he came in, we had a meet at Tecumseh, he came into they were having a game, and the football team was running the food booth. And one of the kids said, well, I wonder what the slowest kid, the last place on cross-country was. And my son said, I know, because I was last place. And the football player said, that's okay, we couldn't run 3.2 miles.
Yeah.
So you guys do something that most people can't do, and I'm really
Yeah.
proud of you.
Like getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and
Yeah.
running 6 to 8 miles when it's 90% humidity and 80 degrees or so, yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. See you next year.
Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edwardson. I will.
Next, I would like to introduce our 1A state finalist coach, Mrs. Katie Johnson.
Hello, thanks for having us. And we have a great team we have for the last couple years, but this one's special. Just like last year's, we made it to the final game. We didn't pull it out, but we were close. We were 32-5 this year, which is our most wins in a season, beating last year. We were 31-5 last year. So we beat last year's wins by 1. And we won our conference for the 4th straight year undefeated, a 13-team conference. And most of all, our seniors have never lost a conference game, so that's pretty cool. And just, I want to recognize the fact that almost every place we go, I get tons of compliments about these girls, not just athletic ability, but they're very classy, they're very sportsmanlike, and I'm really proud of how they carry themselves. I take pride in that because I don't have to ask them to do that very often. I mean, sometimes, but not very often. But they're just great kids, and they're easy for me to coach. They play as a team. If we didn't, we would not have 32 wins. So teamwork is really big. I preach that. They buy into it. They do it, and they've been very successful because of it. And lastly, I just want to say I feel like they represented our school and our community all the way up to state finals in Muncie. They represented us very well. Do you want me to introduce them?
Please. Yes,
Okay.
please.
Do you want them to come up as I
Yes,
introduce
yes,
them?
come like right up here. Yes.
All right. Come on up. Okay, so we have Jenna Donahue, This is our manager, Lucy. She's a foreign exchange student from Switzerland. Ava Kissel, Hannah McGee, Brianne Harris, Lydia Wilson, Madeline Isaac, Emily Hall, Avery Englehart, Lily Ricketts, Shay Bailey, Paige Johnson, Bailey Riddle, Caitlin Marks, and Bianca Lockmuller. I think they all came tonight, so.
Congratulations.
How you doing?
Good. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We didn't applaud for him.
Yeah, we did. Who are the seniors?
I wonder if Castle played Tecumseh.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Okay, next we have our 4A state finalist, Coach Watson. And as he's going to the podium, I just have to say, as the superintendent of this district, it was so special to be able to be at the state finals and have two teams there. It really threw the people on the floor for a loop when I went back down for the second ceremony, and the lady's like, "What are you doing back down here?" You know, because she had known I was already on the floor earlier. So it's rare to have something like that happen, and it was just so special for our entire community. And I saw every one of you on that floor fighting, digging deep. I saw grit, perseverance, all the things that make all of us as your community members and your educators and your superintendent very, very proud of how you represented Warwick County. So thank you to both teams.
Well, now I don't have to give a speech now, so it's great. So I'm very pleased to represent the Castle Volleyball Program, and congratulations to our cross-country, our speech representative, and definitely Tecumseh. It was neat to be able to experience this with Tecumseh along the way. We did a nice team builder at Build-A-Bear together, and it was just really neat to have that fellowship in the volleyball community, represent Southwestern Indiana. I can't tell you what pride it gives me to be the head volleyball coach at Castle. You know, in my life, it's God, family, and then Castle Volleyball. And to have kids to match that and really demonstrate on a day in and day out their beliefs and their actions. I think we talk about wanting a team to be selfless. We talk about wanting a team to love each other. It's another thing when they practice those things on a daily basis, when the coach is watching and when the coach is not watching. And I can't speak highly enough of these kids. They achieved all of these things because of who they are and what they do behind the scenes. A lot of times we see the outcomes, but we don't see the day-to-day preparation and what they do. And I think just speaks highly to who they are and what they represent, and I couldn't be any prouder. I'd like to introduce them now. We'll start with our seniors. Senior Katie Kopshover, who is
If you just don't mind, just line up first, and then we'll shake after. So just you can just make a line right here.
Katie's going to go play volleyball at Eastern Illinois. She is SIC Player of the Year. Next senior we have is Gretchen Hurt. Gretchen was our IHSAA Mental Attitude Award winner. I want to recognize Paige Johnson, who is the IHSAA Mental Attitude Award winner for 1A. I think that was awesome that Warwick County was able to sweep both those awards. Next senior is Kirsten Niehaus, school record for digs in a season. Next senior we have is Ella Wood, one of the best leaders on and off the court. And then our last co-captain senior is Megan Harpenow, the heart and soul of our team. Next, we're going to have junior Riley Springer. We have junior Julia Barrett, junior Maya Joska, junior Addie Galentine, sophomore Emma Brugenschmidt, junior Caroline Kenworthy, junior Maura Evernham, junior Emma Watson, JV coach Lexi Gentry. It's your Castle Knights.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Good job. I'm proud of you, ladies. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you. Congratulations. Good job. Good job. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Good job. Good job. Have fun. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you float to come see this season? And you guys.
We did have one other fall sports state finalist who could not be here tonight. Ashley Kirkland competed in golf, and she actually placed second. She was just unable to be here this evening, but I did want to recognize her as well. So, yeah, very good. So, ladies, you are absolutely more than welcome to stay, but you certainly do not have to. Totally up to you guys.
As a, thank
Be safe. There goes our audience.
Yeah, girls that age got a lot better things to do. They don't wanna hang around with us.
I have to say, I couldn't be more proud of those girls. I wasn't able to attend physically, but I watched it via live stream, and I didn't see anybody give up. They were always just right back after it. And as Abby said, the determination and grit, it was just amazing. So I bet they'll be back next year. I'm hoping. Maybe we'll have a trifecta next year.
Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. What fun. Okay, item 4, patron concerns. We didn't have anyone signed up. Item 5, consideration of routine business. Dr. Redmond.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilhelmus. The following routine items include the minutes of the school board meeting held on October 23rd, 2023, the minutes of the school board meeting held on November 6th, 2023, and the claims and docket for November 13th, 2023. I recommend the board approve these routine items as presented.
We have a motion by Mrs. Metzger,
Second.
second by Mr. Eidner. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 6A, consideration of consideration of items for board action. Consider approving additions to the WCSC reading list. Dr. Redmond.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Wilhelmus. In your board packet, you will find a request from the Director of Learning, Mr. Jason Fisher, requesting that Siddhartha be added to the approved reading list for grades 9 through 12. All of the process was followed and all of that documentation is in your board packet. I recommend the board approve this request as submitted.
So move.
We have a motion by Mr. Baker, a second by Mr. Mosby. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 6B, consider accepting donations. Dr. Redmond.
In your board packet, you will find the following donation requests. Boonville High School, a $2,000 donation from the Boonville Cub Baseball Organization to be used for baseball equipment and supplies. At Boonville Middle, we have a $1,176 donation from the Community Foundation and Jan Allen to be used for expanding their book collection in the BMS library. We have 2 donations to Tecumseh High School, $500 donation from Zoetis to be used for the Tecumseh FFA, and a second donation for $500 from Full Throttle Automotive LLC to be used for THS boys basketball. I recommend the board approve these requests as presented.
I move to approve.
We have a motion by Mrs. Glover, a second by Mr. Franz. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I would like to request that Mr. Armstrong come up. I would like for him to give us a report or explain the condition of the Boonville High School softball field and concession stand. I know it's on the slate to be upgraded,
Yes.
but it is in terrible.
This past summer, we identified, spring, summer, that we needed to do some work at the dugout, the concession stand, and the bleachers at the Boonville High School softball field. So we built it into the budget for 2024, but Usually we start working on the project for next year, right after Halloween. We actually got to that project a little earlier, and I met out there with the manager of maintenance and the athletic director, and we started looking at some things, and we were looking at the project, and it appeared to be a little bit bigger than what we had originally anticipated. I contacted an architect, contractor, got them on site, and they identified that the project is bigger. But moreover, the concession stand, contractor was looking at the wall. He believed the concession stand wall is at risk of failing. And as we discussed the nature of the project, they did not feel that if we went through all of the ordinary steps on a design bid build, that we would have time to actually complete the project. There's a lot of turnaround in that process. So what we would like to do is acknowledge that at least one portion of this project, the concession stand, is declared an emergency so that I can move forward through the steps in a quicker fashion to get the work done. And we've got a plan for all three parts, but we really need to be moving on the concession stand as quickly as possible, so that's what we're asking.
I make a motion that we declare the concession stand an emergency and authorize Mr. Armstrong to move forward with all expediency so that we can fix that problem and solve it.
Do we want to specify just the concession stand?
I would declare the entire project.
Okay.
What's
Yes,
the-
I'll
I'm glad you
modify
said
the
that.
entire project.
Yes.
Yes.
That way, yes.
I'd second
I
that
appreciate
motion.
that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Baker, a second by Mr. Mosby. Is there any discussion?
I was just wondering what the kind of figures you were talking about.
Well, the initial figure came in at 700,000 from the contractor on an estimate. And he said he thought he was giving me a low number. I believe we're gonna cut that in half by doing this process.
Okay.
We'll do some of the work ourselves. Brian was out there. We've identified some of the work the maintenance department can do. And we're gonna break it apart, and
Okay.
we're gonna try to save some money, but obviously we're trying to get it done.
Right.
As long as we can get it done and done correctly, so that
Right.
we don't have to go back and redo anything. And while we're at it, we need to make sure that we do it
Just say
top
everything's
notch.
safe. Yeah.
Yes, and if you haven't been down there to see it, my grandson played tennis for Boonville Middle, and there's caution tape all around, and I walked all inside of it. The walls on the building are coming apart, they're crooked. It's really in terrible shape, that's all I can say. But if you haven't seen it, you might want to take a walk around there, and you will definitely see what Mr. Armstrong's talking about.
I've got, all four, especially emergency walls falling down, 100%. I just want to make sure, I don't know if we can verify from council that the dollar figure, as a contractor, sometimes it's over a certain amount, there's rules. So I just want to make sure that's at least contemplated, stated, or
Yes.
we're above board.
The initial portion we're gonna work on is the concession stand. We've had a contractor out there again today, trying to get an idea if that's gonna be under the $150,000 threshold. for just
Okay.
that piece.
Would it be prudent to just currently approve that amount? And then if there needs to be additional, we can come back or something like that,
Well,
or?
if we don't, well, you could choose to do that, but if it comes in at 157,000, then we're back to the middle of December before we can move forward.
Okay,
That,
well,
again, that's.
I just want to make sure we're staying above board on all the contracting laws, so I.
Yes, we won't, we're still gonna take it out to quote, we're just gonna bypass the formalized bidding.
Okay, okay.
So we'll have prices legitimate from various
And
contractors.
Cliff, you're okay with the approach?
I haven't looked at this issue, so I don't know.
We're looking at the $150,000 for the quotes.
Okay, do you have to, and I'm just doing some quick, from my memory, do you have to specify the names of the persons that you're inviting to bid?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think you've done that.
I don't know who they are yet.
Okay.
This is
This
preemptive
is
to that
preemptive.
Yes,
process?
that's literally,
Yes.
Okay, I just.
that's why it's showing up tonight.
He needs the authorization to go ahead
And
and
then I'll
even
start getting the
begin
quotes.
this process.
I've got drawings starting, As soon as he's got the drawings, we'll move forward with going through a quote process.
So is it going to come back to the board before they start?
Well, my anticipation was to report back.
Because again, I'm just speaking on the fly, which makes me a little nervous, but what I show here is for the public works, contracts by invitation for emergency situations. The board has to declare an emergency, and then the minutes of the board must show the declaration of emergency, which we've done that, but also the names of the persons invited to bid or provide quotes, if we're looking at the same statute.
I was looking at declaration of an emergency.
Okay, so again, this is that the minutes of the board have to include the names of the person invited.
Do we know the people that were?
Wouldn't it just be that it's just open for bid at this time?
Well, no, this gets us around the bidding process.
I see.
This
I
would be,
see.
we'll go to contractors.
It's emergency, so we go
specifically.
with it, yeah.
I
I
know.
wanna put you on the spot.
Oh, no, you're
Okay.
okay. I mean, it's legitimate. I only know 3 or 4 of the vendors that we know that do this work. I asked the athletic director and the clerk to begin seeking other contractors that can do this kind of work and can get it into their schedule so that we can move forward. So, my best bet would be to be able to name those contractors in a week, probably.
Can we do this to make it an emergency and then come back at the next board meeting? Which, do we have another board meeting this month? right?
We do.
Yeah.
I
And we
didn't,
can actually.
I didn't want to be in
2 weeks.
front of it. I didn't want to go through that process without having it declared first, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, for you to then start the project, those 2 things must be in the board minutes. Declaration plus the names of the persons, which is at least 2.
So what are you proposing we do?
Well, you have, I guess, 2 options. One, you name now the people who will be invited to bid or provide quotes, or to Jeff's point, we come back in 2 weeks and we name them, but.
So to clarify, whether it's an invitation, right? So he
Right.
can come up with contractors A through Z, and you're gonna invite them, and then he would then come back after the fact, and this is I only got a quote from contractor B.
Okay, I can meet your requirements.
It's not what I require.
I can read your interpretation of those requirements I will just move forward, get contractors, get drawings, and proceed, and I'll bring back in 2 weeks the names of those, but I suspect in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be ahead of this process, but we can do all that.
Do you feel comfortable at this time saying 1 or 2? Because that could satisfy, right? Even if you,
Oh, I can name
Right.
several.
Well, why don't
yes,
you
I'm
just
asking.
name several?
It says the minutes of the board must show the names of the persons invited to bid.
So you
So-
invite to bid.
would you
So
care?
to Jordan's point, it should be more of an expansive, because I would hate for you to name 3 and then you pick the 4th one that you didn't name in the.
That's what I'm afraid of.
That's I am too, so,
Well, but what if you named, I'm just trying to help you out in the process. Could you name some that you anticipate, and then maybe if it is those guys, or, no?
The problem is that, for example, we're gonna invite Danco Construction, we're gonna invite Jasper Lumber, we're gonna
Yeah.
invite Art Construction. I know several, but we're also looking for some local contractors that do smaller work.
Right.
That might have scheduling capabilities.
Mhm.
The
To move
timing of this,
quicker.
and I don't know who all those are, and that's actually what we were looking for,
Yeah.
is some names of those companies.
Will 2 weeks
So I think
keep
we
that
didn't have the
process?
understanding that we needed that second piece tonight. We were trying to get permission before he proceeded.
Yeah.
Reaching out to
But
the
you could be
companies.
putting this project together and getting those lists for the next meeting, right, or?
Yeah,
But that's going to put us behind.
Well, if we have
Correct?
to have
Well-
an extra meeting, we have a
Well,
lot of
it's
time.
okay, if all we have to do is in 2 weeks, name the list of the contractors we're inviting to bid, I will have already invited them all, to look at the drawings, et cetera. I'll just put the due date, for their quotes, the Tuesday after the board meeting. And so the next board meeting, I'll identify who they all were that we were inviting, and Tuesday, we'll move forward.
So should we table this vote?
well, you don't
Technically,
need
we're not-
to. We can declare it next time, but since we've already discussed the declaration to be efficient, I think we just go ahead and declare an emergency now. That'll be in the board meeting minutes, and then to his point, 2 Mondays from now. The names are listed, and then that gives him the authority on Tuesday to pick from those names who will do the work.
Okay, I can make that work.
So just to clarify, I know we're in discussion here, and I've forgotten what the motion really was.
To declare an emergency
The
and
whole
have
project
Todd move
emergency.
forward with the project.
And I
Okay.
think we need to modify that motion now.
Okay?
Right, but go ahead.
And so, I would think, yeah, but I guess my concern is 700 was a big number to go in for me as emergency. So as long as we saying right now that we're matching statute of 150, or potentially we're just amending that it's just an emergency. But for me, I think 150 was the mark, and that's what we have to state to, so.
But I want to make it clear that this is not going to be a $150,000 project.
No, not for all 3 parts.
Just this,
Not for all
the
3
emergency piece of it.
So
The
Has to be
emergency
under.
piece,
So then you need to stick to declaring only the concession stand as an emergency.
okay, I just want to make sure that Cliff has time to think through that we're fitting in the right project limits for what we're doing here.
Yes.
Based on this conversation, I would think that we wouldn't have a motion at all. Or I would just let it drop. And then I'll proceed, getting all the information, I'll proceed, and ordinarily that's what I would have done anyways. But I needed to make sure that I can take action quickly once we get here. If I know that on 2 weeks from Monday, it's gonna come back to the vote to declare it an emergency, and, if for some reason you guys change your mind, that could happen, but I'll at least have all the information and be ready to move forward. Otherwise, we're gonna be looking at keeping this facility with some repair work
I'll withdraw.
rather than replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I'll just
motion has
withdraw my
been
motion
withdrawn.
and we will readdress it in 2 weeks.
I'll withdraw my second.
Is any of this, if it's an emergency and we have a failure, is any of this a potential claim for insurance?
For liability? Or-
No, for recovery or
No, it's just old and falling apart.
Well, and it is taped off. I mean, there should be.
I'm not concerned about liability, it was just like if there's a failure, is it an insurance claim? I don't
No.
know.
And
Okay.
that falls under another statute, actually, but.
Okay,
No, I'll just move forward, proceeding to gather the information and get the list of contractors. And, realistically, I plan on having drawings done by the end of the week and getting them in contractors' hands. Because if we don't move forward in 2 weeks and don't get this going, then it's gonna be repair work to the current structure so that we don't have a liability issue.
yeah.
And then
Let me ask you something, one more idea to just throw out. Is it something that we would move our November 20th meeting back a week so that we have another meeting next week? We get all of this taken care of so that we can begin and move forward.
I don't think you'll have to, Marion. I believe if we move forward and we've got, in 2 weeks, if Tuesday after this, 2 weeks from today, we can move forward. 2 weeks is about how long I expected everything to take anyways. So when he said that if I can bring the list in 2 weeks from today, as long as I can move the next day, I'll be ready to award and get going. I think we'll be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? So the motion has been withdrawn, and we will address this at the next school board meeting.
Okay? Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 7, consideration of personnel recommendations. Dr. Gresham.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallace. Human Resource Office has the following business to bring before the board tonight. Agenda item A, consideration of employment. We have one certified staff position, Elizabeth Ray, a speech and language pathologist at WEC for our preschools and non-public schools. Support staff positions are Caitlin Eden, temporary program assistant at Chandler, Sheila Fletcher, temporary program assistant at Logue, Peyton Redinger, temporary program assistant at Newburgh, Amelia Wilson, multi-responsibility position, cafeteria at Sharon and bus driver, Lindsay Fink, multi-responsibility position, program assistant at Tecumseh Middle and bus driver, Christine Allen, temporary half-day program assistant at John H. Castle Elementary, Michelle Mantagna, temporary program assistant at Castle South, Susan Brochures, 3.0-hour cafeteria position at Castle High, and Tina Nuffer, 3.75-hour cafeteria position at Castle North.
We have a motion by Mr. Franz, second by Mr. Mosby. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Agenda item B, leave request. Cynthia Simon, 3.75-hour cafeteria employee at Castle North. Olivia Ballard, language arts teacher at Castle North. Jill Barnett, food and nutrition administrative assistant. Calvin Brent Stevens, multi-responsibility. Alicia Gilkey, business teacher at Castle High. Christine Woolsey, art teacher at Tecumseh High. Lori Blair, program assistant at Linville Elementary. Michelle Garrison, 3.5 hours cafeteria position at Boonville Middle. And Sarah Davis, program assistant at Castle High.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Mrs. Metzger, second by Mr. Baker. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Agenda item C, report of cafeteria changes. Christy McCool, 6.5 hours at Castle High to 6.5 hours at Chandler Elementary. Agenda item D, report of early return. Jennifer Sozio, fourth grade teacher at John H. Castle Elementary, has completed proper paperwork to return early from a leave of absence. Agenda item E, resignations. Colleen Schuler, program assistant at Castle North, resignation effective November 10th, 2023. Tina Sadler, program assistant at Loga Elementary, resignation effective November 3rd, 2023. Christy Vinson, program assistant at Newbury Elementary, resignation effective November 8th, 2023. Spencer Ruiz, program assistant at Boonville High, resignation effective November 7th, 2023. Joey Askins, temporary half-day program assistant at Loga Elementary, resignation effective November 13, 2023. Emma Johnson, special education teacher at Tecumseh Middle, resignation effective December 19, 2023. Samantha Wing, program assistant at Oakdale Elementary, resignation effective December 19, 2023. And agenda item F, retirements. Marilyn Caldemeyer, speech language pathologist at Logue Elementary School, retirement effective December 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Dr. Gresham. Item 8, reports. Dr. Redmond.
Just have an announcement tonight. Starting in January, I've spoken with our building principals, and we would like to start a school highlights section during our board meetings. So at the beginning, just like we had tonight, we were able to recognize all these wonderful students. We thought it might be fun for you to hear directly from the building principals, and they can come in and highlight something that's going on at the school, or bring a group of students to recognize. And then it'll actually take quite a while to get through all of them, because obviously we won't have them come during the summer months, so it'll take just a little over a year to actually get through all of our schools. But we're going to start that at our first board meeting in January.
We'll look forward to that. That's awesome. Okay, agenda item number 9, other board business. We do have a construction meeting tomorrow morning at the central office at 7:30. And the ISBA meeting
The
is
20th.
20th. And Laura sent out all the
Yes.
instructions about
Yes.
when to meet. So, is there
We have
anything
a-
to discuss on that?
But we have special ed transportation at 8:30 in the morning.
Where at?
I guess administration.
Administration building.
Administration.
Any policy and curriculum?
Policy and curriculum will meet December 18th here at Central Services at 4:30 p.m.
Anything else? Okay. Item 10, adjournment. Thank you.
Okay.